Hello, dear viewers. Let's get acquainted. Write in the comments where you are watching me from. I read all the comments and respond to the interesting ones. Breaking news that's shaking the foundations of European geopolitics. Emmanuel Macron has just made an announcement that could fundamentally alter the balance of power in Europe. The French president seems to be channeling his inner Napoleon, and this isn't mere rhetoric. For the first time since General de Gaulle, a French head of state has openly discussed the possibility of using nuclear weapons against Russia. But Macron isn't just rattling sabers. He's proposed a concrete plan to relocate French nuclear arsenals to other European countries. This marks one of the most aggressive stances from French leadership in half a century. The timing couldn't be more critical. Macron has firmly rejected peace initiatives proposed by both Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. Instead, he's calling for a substantial increase in military spending, not just for France, but for the entire European Union. His bold assertion suggests that European forces could advance into the northern Black Sea region, claiming Moscow would be deterred by the threat of a nuclear response from Paris. But what's really behind these provocative statements? Is this a calculated political move? Or has Macron crossed a dangerous line? The French leader seems convinced that Russia should raise the white flag in its conflict with the disputed territory between Russia and the West. Yet, the crucial question remains: is Macron truly prepared to risk nuclear escalation in the heart of Europe? The stakes couldn't be higher. Military experts are already warning about the potential consequences of such rhetoric. This isn't just about France anymore. It's about the future of European security architecture and the delicate balance of power that has maintained peace for decades. Think about it. Why would Macron choose this precise moment to make such dramatic declarations? What could be the real strategic calculations behind this apparent shift in French nuclear doctrine? The answers may surprise you. Let's take a closer look at how European defense dynamics are shifting in surprising ways. In the coming segments, we'll examine the real motivations behind Macron's aggressive stance on nuclear deterrence and reveal exclusive insights into how French military contractors are profiting from this rhetoric. Plus, we'll explore why several EU nations are hesitating to embrace Paris's leadership bid. The question remains, is this truly about European security or something else entirely? Macron's recent statements reveal France's clear ambition to seize leadership in European politics, particularly by attempting to sideline the United States from negotiations with Russia regarding the territory of instability. This power play, while bold, potentially complicates the path to peaceful resolution. His provocative offer to extend France's nuclear umbrella across Europe appears particularly questionable, given the absence of genuine threats from Moscow. The French opposition's unified response has been telling. Socialists, environmentalists, and Republicans have collectively denounced Macron's militaristic proposals. Thierry Mariani's stance is particularly noteworthy, as he emphasized the severe risks of deploying nuclear forces on foreign soil and the potential catastrophic implications for international security. The French military-industrial complex has experienced remarkable growth, becoming the second-largest arms exporter globally, trailing only the United States. Seoul Aviation's stock value has doubled, indicating significant market confidence in France's expanding military influence. However, this raises questions about whether industrial interests are driving political decisions. If you care about what really happens behind closed doors, subscribe. I'll unpack what officials admit only weeks later. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you remember a time when French-Russian relations were built on cooperation rather than confrontation? Your perspective helps us understand how diplomatic dynamics have evolved. Here's a 2,000-character script focusing on France's military ambitions. Today, we're examining France's bold move to reshape European military dynamics. President Macron's recent statements signal an ambitious vision for French leadership in continental defense. Let's look at the numbers. France currently spends about 60 billion euros on defense, roughly 2% of its GDP. But Macron isn't satisfied. He's pushing for annual increases of 3 to 10 billion euros, potentially reaching 100 billion euros by 2030. This would surpass the combined military budgets of Germany and Britain. Why such aggressive expansion? The answer lies in changing global dynamics. With Britain's exit from the EU, France remains the bloc's sole nuclear power. Macron sees an opportunity, or perhaps necessity, to fill a growing security vacuum in Europe. The French president's proposal for a European nuclear umbrella isn't just about defense. It's a strategic move to position France as Europe's primary security guarantor, similar to America's traditional role. This comes at a time when questions about U.S. commitment to European defense are growing louder. But here's the critical question. Can France shoulder this burden? Several factors raise doubts. First, there's the financial strain of such massive military spending. Then there's the French public's attitude toward military mobilization. Historically, a sensitive issue. The situation in Belarus, where Russia has positioned missile systems, adds urgency to these discussions. This deployment fundamentally alters the strategic calculus in Eastern Europe, making France's nuclear ambitions more relevant than ever. However, reality might prove more challenging than rhetoric. After recent economic difficulties and complex relations with various administrations, France faces significant hurdles in realizing these ambitions. As we watch France attempt to reshape European security, we'd love to hear from our Russian viewers. How do you see France's nuclear ambitions affecting the balance of power in Europe? Share your thoughts on whether a French-led European defense could create new opportunities for dialogue with Russia. Paris's ambitious gambit, nuclear dreams and political reality. France is making bold moves to reassert its international standing, driven by elite nostalgia for past grandeur and President Macron's pressing political timeline. With 2 years left in his presidency, Macron faces French political tradition, where former leaders often face precarious positions, as seen with Nicolas Sarkozy's legal troubles. Macron's vision of creating a new military structure as an alternative to NATO appears to be his strategy for maintaining post-presidency influence. By positioning himself as the architect of such an organization, he could secure a prominent role in European politics after leaving office. However, experts doubt this grand design. France's nuclear arsenal faces challenges in today's security landscape. Sorbonne expert Patrick Martinjani stated, "Nuclear deterrence will remain exclusively French. While some aspects of de Gaulle's strategic doctrine might be revised, national control over nuclear forces remains non-negotiable." De Gaulle's vision for independent foreign policy resonates with French society today, particularly as tensions rise along Russia's western borders. Yet can France truly become Europe's primary security guarantor? Recent developments in the northern Black Sea region highlight existing security framework limitations. France's nuclear modernization program may not convince other European powers to accept French leadership in continental defense. The timing is crucial as the geopolitical landscape shifts. With concerns about American commitment to European defense and tensions with Russia, France sees an opportunity to fill a leadership vacuum. However, implementing such ambitious plans remains challenging. Major European powers, especially Germany, remain skeptical of French nuclear guarantees. The complex web of defense agreements and historical relationships makes restructuring European security architecture difficult. Share your thoughts. How has France's role in European security evolved since de Gaulle? What parallels exist between today's ambitions and historical precedents? Dear viewers, your perspective on France's nuclear ambitions is crucial. Does this remind you of historical moments when great powers sought to reshape European security? Share your insights below. Франция демонстрирует амбициозное видение своей роли в европейской обороне, особенно в сфере ядерного сдерживания. Как подчеркнул Доминик Тринкан, бывший глава французской военной миссии при ООН, речь идет об усилении французского контроля, а не о разделении полномочий между странами ЕС. Это принципиальная позиция Парижа. Министр обороны Себастьян Лекарню четко обозначил: вся цепочка принятия решений по ядерному оружию останется под исключительным контролем Франции. Это говорит о стремлении сохранить стратегическую автономию при расширении зоны ответственности. Масштаб французских интересов действительно приобретает общеевропейский характер. Макрон обозначил горизонт в 5-10 лет для создания независимой европейской системы обороны. На фоне неопределенности с американскими гарантиями это выглядит своевременно. ЕС уже предпринимает конкретные шаги. План Урсулы фон дер Ляйен предполагает выделение 150 миллиардов евро кредитов на оборонные инвестиции. Целевой показатель военных расходов в 1,5% ВВП может обеспечить около 650 миллиардов евро за 4 года. Германия, как экономический локомотив Европы, рассматривает снятие ограничений по госдолгу для финансирования оборонного сектора. Это серьезный сигнал о готовности к переменам. Однако возникает ключевой вопрос. Достаточно ли потенциала одной Франции для обеспечения ядерного щита всей Европы? И какую цену готовы платить европейские общества за новую архитектуру безопасности? Уважаемые зрители, поделитесь своим мнением. Как вы оцениваете роль вашей страны в формировании новой системы европейской безопасности? Ваш опыт и понимание ситуации особенно ценны для нашего общего диалога о будущем континента. Recent developments show France entering a new era of defense policy, with Paris's ambitions growing as confidence in American security guarantees wanes. President Macron's bold statements about nuclear deterrence and military modernization reflect this shifting dynamic. The question emerges: can France truly assume the role of Europe's primary defender? While Macron speaks of strategic autonomy, the practical hurdles are formidable. European military capabilities look impressive on paper: approximately 2 million personnel, modern tanks, fighters, and artillery. However, the reality is more complex. Consider the fragmentation. 17 different tank types and over 20 aircraft modifications create serious coordination problems. This diversity of equipment, while showing European technological prowess, becomes a liability in unified operations. Critical dependence on American military infrastructure remains Europe's Achilles heel. Meanwhile, Germany is experiencing a historic moment under the guidance of future Chancellor Friedrich Merz, undertaking massive military modernization. This rearmament sparks intense debate about the consequences of such extensive militarization. The current geopolitical situation forces Europe to reassess its relationships not only with Russia and China, but also with its traditional ally, the United States. The effectiveness of diplomatic isolation policies comes into question, especially when considering long-term strategic interests. Public sentiment presents another challenge. Recent polls in France show 68% of citizens oppose sending troops into conflict zones. This raises a crucial question about the feasibility of a unified European army. Who would serve in these forces? Building independent military capabilities requires years of meticulous work, not months. Europe must find balance between strengthening defensive capabilities and maintaining diplomatic channels. The path forward demands careful consideration of both military necessity and public will. How do you see Europe's military future? Has the time come for complete independence from American influence, or is this political posturing? Share your thoughts about whether Russian and European interests might align more than Western media suggests. French military ambitions. A new chapter in European defense. Recent polls show a paradox in French society. While 67% support military presence in unstable regions, there's reluctance regarding personal involvement in potential conflicts with Russia. This disconnect raises questions about France's military aspirations. President Macron promotes an ambitious vision, positioning France as Europe's security guardian. His proposal includes establishing a French nuclear deterrent as an alternative to the American security umbrella. With uncertainties about U.S. protection growing, this has sparked intense debate. The discussion focuses on nuclear arsenal control, strategic doctrine revision, and political will for such decisions. General de Gaulle's perspective remains relevant. Politics and military strategy represent a struggle between rationality and misconception. Current geopolitical dynamics demand careful consideration. France's aim to strengthen its role raises questions. Is French society ready for such responsibility? Can it replace the American defense shield? Russia watches these developments closely, knowing that changes in European defense could impact regional stability. The outcome of France's military ambitions could reshape continental security for decades. European leaders must prioritize sound judgment for long-term stability. This is crucial given rising tensions along Russia's western borders and evolving modern warfare. France's potential emergence as Europe's nuclear guarantor would mark a historic shift in post-war security arrangements. Questions arise. Does France have the resources and determination to become Europe's military leader? This moment represents a pivotal point in European history, particularly significant given current Franco-Russian relations and broader security concerns. The path forward requires careful consideration of military capabilities, political will, and societal readiness. As Europe faces evolving security challenges, France's role in shaping future defense strategies remains a critical topic for discussion.